Welcome back. I wanted to share, these are the starts. I had done a video previously showing you how I was picking some of the papers out for my steampunk journals. So I've got the front covers. I haven't decided, signature cover start. This is just, I don't know if this is the way they're going to stay or not. But just to give you an idea of how I organize. So the previous video I showed you my digitals and then some of the papers that I was going to put in there. So I went through my digitals, pulled out a few scrapbook papers that I wanted, and a few other things that I might want in them. They're not completely done yet, but this is just how I do it. I take my digitals, fold them up, first thing I do is after I sort them into my piles of the ones that I want together, I take my digitals, fold them up, sort of put papers together how I would do it. This is a plain one. It has scrapbook paper, had some stenciling in it, some of my painty papers, digital, that's Scrapbook Sages right there. This one, I'm not sure who it is. But start with that. Get them all cut down to the size that I want. And then I like to get a sturdier scrapbook paper to go on the front of my signature. This one I happened to cut it. I've cut all of these big enough that they could be covers if I wanted to start a covers. See, a little bit bigger. Because I don't know. This isn't my plan to use this as my covers. And then what I have cut off from the papers, none of my papers had extra edges that were worth anything, but there were some scrapbook strips left because those can be used for all kinds of things. I like to take them, put them all together, and I paper clip them. So this is what these are. If you all remember from previous videos, I had one of the kits I was using was Kara Brandon's Rainbow Steampunk, and they were all different colors, so I have put those out. Like this particular one is the fairy stuff I've been working on. This is the fairy Steampunk Fairy Journal. There are a lot of yellows in it, so I went with a yellow wet. That Kara had a purple, an orange, and I sort of divided them out, and I didn't pull out any red papers, but I went with this maroonish color and some tans. That is her red steampunk. That is just some other kits that I put together with various mixes kits. And as you can see, I've got all the little extra pieces that were worth keeping that I might use paper clipped on there. So when I do go to build, then I will have them. But I was going to show you how do I get to this point. So I kept these. So when I've got them all folded up and going, this is what they look like. That does not look anything like that one. And that's the size. But I fold them up and put them sort of the way I want them. And then I start here. I don't even know what this one is. So let me grab this one. And I just have them all folded together and paper clipped. And that way I open them up. Okay, this happens to be Kara Brandon's yellow. And so you can see they're not sized together right. I don't print on both sides. I usually will glue, and that gives my papers good girth after I bind them. Got some of my painty paper in there. That's a piece of shimmering paper that I'd gotten. That's from somebody else's kit. And yellow was sort of hard to find some stuff, but I did some of those painty papers, and I think they worked out really good with the black and the yellow. And so this is sort of my start, not last, but start there, and there's the center. So I will take it, and this one happens to be down that way. I get them all folded, get them in there, and I will trim things up. And I will just trim right along the bottom, because these, now if there's a lot of them, I don't do it this way, but this is just basically the only paper I've got. There might be a few hanging out, but then I've got that little scrap right there. And then I'll have that edge, and usually I like to do it this way, do half of it, because some of my painty papers are hanging over. So I'm trimming those up just a little bit. Now I know some of you are like about ready to faint seeing me do it this way, but that's okay. This is the way I do it. I will have my edges finished up whichever different ways that I do it. I don't know until I make the journals, but this is how I size everything up before I move on. See, that piece right there is good for layering on an edge, possibly, or around the top of a pocket, so I'll keep that. I'm going to do the back side. I just want to hold it so it's steady. Like I said, some of these painty papers are not exactly fit. And yes, I will have pages that are not all the same size. I just like to have the initial ones somewhat the same size. And no, I'm not moving my paper on this one because it's a big stack. I am actually moving my scissors. So the advice I gave you in a previous video on that. Okay. Now, once I get it this way, and I can finish cleaning it up later, but now it's that. Then I take that cover piece, and like I said, I don't know if I'm going to make this a single signature and use this and build it up as my cover. But just in case I want to mark it, I line up the edge. So it's lined up there. And I know how far I want to make it. I just make a little mark. And down here on this one, I don't know if it's in or not. But I'm making the mark about right there. Just so you know. In case the bottom side's not in. Okay. Then I get out my trimmer. And watch my trimmer not work. You know. You all notice that. When people do videos, things don't work like they should. Take my mark, that little mark right there, and that's what I'm using. That's a usable piece. I always pull down, I don't push up on my trimmers. It just works better that way. There we go. The usable piece. And I'm cutting off those little marks so you're not seeing them. And I take these usable pieces, put them over to the side. If I use them, I use them. If I don't, I don't. But if I throw them away or get rid of them right now, I will not have them later if I need them when I build my journals. So this is my process of how I prep my signatures. And so when I go back and I'm building, I still have other pages I'm going to add into here. I might do some ledger pages. I might do some line pages. I don't know. I'm considering even some doilies. I don't know. Haven't made that decision yet. But this is what I do. And I will get them. Like you saw this stack right here. And I throw it in the stack. And so when I'm ready to work on a journal, there we go. I'm not going to bore you and sit here and do. I've still got a few more I need to do. I will do those off camera. But I've still got a few more. But that's how I start everything. And how I prep my initial pages and everything. Then that way everything's together and organized. And I've got all these in a stack together over here. In a place where I can get to them. And I'm ready to move on from there. I'll catch you later and see you with some more hints. And hopefully I'll spend the month working through these. I've never done this before in my videos. So hopefully this time I'll get that done. Catch you later.